Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're live. Let's go. Let's go. Let me move my microphone out the way so that's not in the way. Listen, I use my podcast background because I think it's dope. If you've never seen it before, it says hustle because that's what we're doing. We're in that game of life and we're trying to hustle to the top. So I would like to welcome you to today's live. Today, we're going to be streaming across LinkedIn Live. We're going to be doing YouTube as well as Facebook. Let me make sure the comments in the chat box is open so we can all win together. So while people are feeding in, I definitely like to welcome you and set the stage for what we're about to get into. Today is going to be a dope session, and I always know we got some returning viewers. So thank you in advance for all those viewers that return because I know you're super excited about getting your career to the next level, and I'm here to help you get there. So welcome. And today we're going to be talking about, well, what if people what if I told you that people that are getting hired here in 2025, like they didn't apply faster, like they just positioned themselves smarter. Think about that. It wasn't about how fast they applied, it's about how they position themselves. So we're going to get into this and how we can help you navigate this new system here in 2025. I do have the inside scoop. I have some behind the scenes analysis, and I can just kind of help you understand how we're going to get to that next level of our career success. So once again, welcome. The chat box is open. It'll be extremely dope if you can introduce yourself. Like, I don't want, for first, last name, your baby mama's name, and all that. No, only thing I want is your first name and where you're from, and then whatever channel that you're watching me from. That'd be great. That'll help me identify where my reach is, so I can just lean more into that area and invite more people like yourself to tune in to help you get to the next level. So, welcome once again. Today's session, we're talking about what if I told you that getting hired in 2025, it didn't, I mean, the smarter way to get hired here in 2025. So how do we get hired here in 2025? Really quick, a minute about me. Former healthcare executive, spent over 15 years in the healthcare world, rose to the ranks, became a healthcare technology executive. I was part of the team where we steered and sold the company at the end of 2018. But what I noticed is there were so many instrumental and influential people within healthcare that for whatever reason they were getting passed up for opportunities. And for me, I felt like, man, I want to give back. I want to help somebody else get to that next level of their career success, because what I realized is there were so many other people who were way smarter than me, but they were doing way less than me. And I've seen a lot of people get frustrated, burned out, and they end up leaving the industry altogether. So former healthcare executive, also a veteran, spent 6 years in the military, 2 tours overseas, and I'm also a strategist and a business owner. So I do a little bit of everything. Today, I'm a full-time entrepreneur. My company is PDP Media. It's designed to help elevate your brand, as well, individual brands as well as company brands. And I do a lot of it through storytelling. So make sure y'all tap in and follow me as well. I want to do a post check really, really quick. See who's on the line. Drop this first name, where you from. That'd be great. And then I also want you to drop that rocket ship. If you ever felt like you've been doing everything right, but you still been getting overlooked for opportunities, drop the rocket ship. Like, you've been doing everything right, but for whatever reason, you're still getting passed over for opportunities. If that's you, drop it in the box. Let me know you here. Hey, we're not alone in this. Even me as an entrepreneur, there's opportunities I feel like I should have gotten, but I didn't, and I'm still kind of learning behind the scenes as well. So drop that rocket ship if you've been doing everything right, but you're still getting passed over for those opportunities. I want to help you understand the purpose of this session and what we're going to get into. It's about clarity, control, and a smarter career strategy. So we'll tap into that really quick. And I think, how many sections do I have in here? All I know, this is going to be 30 minutes. I got section 2, 3, let me see, 4, and then we're going to end it on 5, 6. We're going to smash it all in here in 30 minutes or less. Here's the other thing too. The comment box is open. So even though I'm talking, I will try to tap in with the comment box and try to address or answer some of those questions while I'm going through my spiel as well. So this is designed for you. So don't be afraid to either come off mute, put yourself on camera, or drop a comment in the comment box. See, anything else I need to tell you about that? No, I think we're good there. Okay, so let's jump right into it. Why job boards, they won't save you. Oh, this is a good one right here. A lot of us, man. Okay, I see Rob. What's up? See you there. Lori, Kansas City. I see you. Welcome, Lori. More people are feeding in as well. Listen, why job boards won't save you. This is what you need to understand. And most of us, we use LinkedIn, or we're using like Indeed for our job boards, right? And we're thinking, man, okay, if I have this nice shiny profile, if I'm a head down hustler, all this is going to equate to greater opportunities for myself. Let me tell you something. I was a former healthcare executive, and I'm not a traditional healthcare executive in the sense that where I was at the bedside or worked in these hospitals. I was on the technology side of things, right? And I worked with a lot of dope startups. And one of the dope startups that I worked with, we were actually using predictive analytics behind the scenes to predict whether or not an employee would turn over before you even hired them. Imagine that. We're using technology to predict the likelihood of you turning over as an applicant before you even apply for the position, right? And that technology was designed to weed people out before you even interviewed them. That's just one piece of the pie. Just think there's applicant tracking systems right now that if you don't have those certain keywords within your resume, within your profile, you're weeded out and your profile's never even showed to their recruiting manager, right? So you're thinking, okay, all I got to do is sign up on LinkedIn. I have this nice, pretty profile, and then that's going to help me get noticed. No, it doesn't. You think, okay, all I got to do is I know a couple of people and then apply for the job and it's going to help me get promoted. No, or get that position. No, it doesn't. Job boards ain't your friend anymore. You need to understand this. You've probably seen this already. LinkedIn is owned by Meta, and this is not a jab at LinkedIn. I'm just going to give you factual information. LinkedIn is owned by Meta. So what does that mean? They're a for-profit organization. For-profit organizations are always trying to tweak to figure out how can we make more money. That's what they're supposed to do. They're for-profit organizations. So one, get that in your mindset that these organizations are for-profit. What does that mean to you? It means that oftentimes, if you're not investing in additional resources that cost money, your profile is not being seen. You probably see more and more of it lately where there's ads being run on your feed. You probably see more content creators like myself who are right there in front of you, and they're more visible than any jobs that show up in your feed. Why is that? Because they're for profit. All right. So I want to be real with you. The best roles right now, the best roles are rarely they live on job boards, rarely. And even when they do, they often go to someone else who's already inside the room. What does that mean? They go to people who are already working for the organization, right? So you need to understand that. Most roles rarely, like the roles that you want, they rarely live on job boards. You may see some evergreen jobs, meaning these are recurring positions that turn over quite frequently that they always post, and those are the ones they want you to apply for. But the positions that you're looking for, like that leadership role, generally speaking, they already have somebody in mind that they want to give that to. And when they post that job would be posted for 7 to 10 days, and then they take it down, and then they give it to the candidate that they want. You probably experienced that and seen that firsthand, right? You can all nod your head. So here's some key points here you need to understand. Less than 20% of hires actually happen via online applications. They're happening behind the scenes. And there's a real saturation problem here. Like everyone has access, which means it's harder to stand out. And that's what we're trying to do now. How do we stand out from the norm? How do we stand out from my peer that looks like me that's right next to me, right? And as I shared with you before, many of these roles, they're pre-filled in companies. They already have that internal candidate in their mind. And a lot of the times, and I can tell you this too, as a former healthcare executive, what I would look for is I'm looking for people that I already have a relationship with, that I already know their work ethic. I know that they're used to my management style. I know how they're going to react in tough situations. And so as a leader, it's so important because we're building these amazing teams. And I want to be able to entrust the person that I hire to execute on the vision that I have for my department or for the organization, right? And so that's why these relationships are so freaking important, right? And so we're going to get into how do we become more visible? How do we position ourselves? How do we make that shift? And here's the shift that I want you to make. So if the answer, Patrick, and you're going to be asking me this. So Patrick, you don't even have to drop this in the comments, but I already know you want to know. Patrick, if the answer isn't applying faster or tweaking my resume for the 1,000th time, what's actually the answer? And we're going to dig into that. Remember, the chat box is open, so you can drop any comments that you have or any questions you may have, and I kind of roll through these as we go on with this live. How are we doing on time check? Oh, we're good. We're good. So section 3, and we're already in section 3 already. Remember, we only have 6, but section 3 is the visibility gap. What is the visibility gap? This is, if no one sees your value, it doesn't matter how brilliant you are. Listen to it. Think about it. If no one sees your value, it doesn't matter how brilliant you are. Right? It's kind of like that old, question that people ask, does a tree make noise when it falls in the middle of the woods and no one's around? don't know. No one's around. So no one heard it. No one can see it. I want to explain what the visibility gap actually means. This is when high value professionals, they often spend their time doing versus being seen. What does that mean? It means you're actually doing your job. So no fault to you, you're doing your job. You show up at work every single day. You're a stellar employee. You always get amazing reviews. That's great. You show up in the office, you probably go above and beyond, which is awesome. You're probably a leader within your peer group. That's actually amazing as well. And then you realize you're putting in more time and effort than all those people around you. So what are you doing? You're a head down hustler, meaning you're showing up, you're doing exactly what you're supposed to do. Culturally, you're following your parents' advice. You got the degree, you're working, you're busting your tail, but all of that, and you're hopeful that that's going to mean you're going to get to the next level. But it doesn't mean that anymore because you've been head down hustling that you failed to focus on being seen. Listen, I'm not blaming you for this. This has been a shift that has been happening since the pandemic. All right. So this has only been, I wouldn't say since the pandemic, before that, because I started making myself visible years before that. But even now that more AI is coming into play, even now that more video is coming into play, even now that more advertisers are coming into play, even now that more brand sponsors are coming into play, it's about visibility. That's the next wave of the game. And if you're not playing the game, but yet you still want to be that full-time hustler, you're going to get passed over by everybody else that's playing the game. And what game are we playing? We're in that game of life. And in the game of life, we have to constantly innovate and elevate, innovate and elevate, innovate and elevate, so we can get to the next level, so we can achieve the outcomes that we're looking to achieve, right? So you've been head down hustling. No one has been seeing you. So we want to shift. I'm not saying don't work hard. I'm saying now we're going to be strategic about how we become visible so people notice you. And oftentimes, a lot of your opportunities, they may come from outside of your organization. So we're getting into that. You need to understand this too. People doing great work behind closed doors, that keeps you overlooked. All right. So you're doing great work behind closed doors. That's going to keep you overlooked. I want to reframe your thought process and understand that visibility is not vanity. It's strategy. Let that sink in. Visibility is not vanity. It's strategy. So here's some practical tips here. And remember, chat box is open. So if you have any questions or just let me flow, I'll continue to flow and we'll probably address a lot of the questions you may have. Here are a practical tip. I would like you to optimize your LinkedIn profile, like your headline to reflect the role that you want, not just the one that you have. All right. So what this means, we're going to reframe the way we're thinking. I want you to think of yourself like a brand and a tech company. How does a brand and a tech company think? Well, a brand and a tech company, they're forward thinking and they're very innovative. So if you're thinking of yourself as a brand, you are the brand, right? You're not an applicant. You're not just an employee. You're a brand. So any organization you work for, you need to be the brand, your own personal brand. And when you become the brand, you create a spotlight and an image about yourself that streams beyond the company that you work for. You see what I'm saying? And then when you're then forward thinking and innovative, forward thinking is I'm telling the story of where I see myself in the future, not where I am today, right? So that's the story we're telling. Our story is where we're going. That's what we're talking about. And then innovative is we're using the tools and technologies that are available today to make sure that we're visible outside of our organization because you're the brand, right? So think of yourself as the brand. Then I want you to start posting or engaging weekly to increase your visibility. And I already know what you're saying. You're throwing your hands up right now. Pat, listen, I'm not a creator. I'm not a content creator. I'm more extroverted. I don't want to put myself online. I get that. I'm not saying you need to do that. What I'm saying is we need to increase visibility. There's more ways to increase visibility outside of putting yourself on camera. I didn't say you need to put yourself on camera. I just said we need to increase visibility and we need to engage weekly. We need to make sure that our presence is felt, our presence is seen on a weekly basis across social channels, right? So this is where we're forward thinking and we're using an innovative tool, which is now we're using all the tools like LinkedIn. I'm using TikTok, man. I'm using Instagram. I'm using my YouTube page because now I want to be visible. I want to help other people think. Sidebar, this is not even part of it, but I want to share this. A lot of people are using their LinkedIn profile to share their organization, but you're not using your LinkedIn profile to share yourself. I mean, you're talking about all the events that you have going on. You're talking about all the best practices that are in place. You talk about this, that, or the other, all the dope parties that are happening in your organization, which is great, but you're not using it to promote yourself. So there's a visibility problem. Your company's growing, which is great. I mean, that means maybe there's some job security, who knows? But your brand isn't growing. So we want to increase our visibility that way. The other practical tip I want to help you with is make your achievements easily visible, like quantifiable wins, your leadership impact, your testimonial. These are the wins. Like when you've been busting your tail, that head down hustling. Now I want to talk about on the weekly basis what I achieved this particular week. I want to talk about the outcomes that I was able to deliver within my department or within my organization. I want to talk about how my leadership impacted another employee achieve similar or greater success than I had. I want to talk about the testimonials from my patients, from my clients, from other people within my peers. I want to bring those to the forefront, and I'm going to do that on a weekly basis. Those are my wins. I'm making myself visible. Remember, visibility is not vanity, it's strategy. And if you don't have a correct strategy to navigate your career, then you can find yourself stuck and you're not moving and there's no forward momentum. So your brand is actually stagnant. It's not elevating, right? And if you think about your brand, think about this. How did you come to my feed? How did you come to my thread? What did my brand say to you that made you want to drop your finger, hit the button to join this live, right? And say, you know what, this is something that I would like to learn more. What was it about my particular brand? Well, one, I'm actually out there. I put myself out there to put myself in front of you, right? So you could actually come here to be with me. My brand actually worked. You see what I'm saying? My brand worked for you. My brand has worked so many times, and this is not about me. I'm just trying to give you some insight into how brands work. There's been so many times I've been offered positions at conferences, right? And I don't even work for those organizations because they knew my brand. Because I understood early on that visibility isn't vanity, visibility is strategy. And we want to be strategic about how we grow our career. All right, I see you tapping in. So thank you. I appreciate the comments as they keep coming in. So an example, well, the example was me. There's been so many times that I've been offered positions that I refused. I've speaking engagements. There's been opportunities that collab on various projects only because I made my visibility out there. People have been offering me other executive positions, which I'm not interested in. But those things happen as well. And now I'm here to help you get to the next level. And I'm 100% committed to this. Go back and look at my LinkedIn profile. Go look at the videos. Everything that I talk about is designed to help you get to that next level because I'm truly committed to this. I'm all about impact right now is where I'm at. So let's move on to, if you got any questions, you can drop them in the box. We're going to move on to section number 4, time check. We're doing good. We're doing absolutely wonderful. 4 is going to be building a brand that works while you sleep. That's what we're interested in. My brand should work for me even when I'm sleeping. My brand should put me in rooms that I didn't even know were available. Here's a quote. I want to hit you with this. Your brand should speak even when you're not in the room, period. It should speak. I think I dropped a video yesterday that talks about that, being in the room. So you want to check that out. It's on in my videos tab. It talks about being in the room and how my brand has positioned me for opportunity. So your brand should speak even when you're not in the room. And here's my talking points. You need to understand this. Personal brand. What is personal brand? Personal brand equals the story that people tell about you when you're not around. And I want you to pause and give this 5 or 6 seconds here. Think about what your brand says today and what people would say about you when you're not around. Let me sip to this one really quick. What is it saying? What is your brand? What is the story your brand telling you right now? All right. I get it. And you're probably thinking about, yeah, man, my brand is not that strong. I can work on that. That's why we're here. So we can help you identify, analyze, and work through how do we become more visible. So your personal brand is the story that people tell about you when no one is around, right? And then positioning. We're getting into positioning. Positioning. What does positioning mean? Positioning is the alignment or aligning your digital presence with your desired leadership narrative. This is what positioning is. So there's 2 things we need to work on there. That personal brand and positioning. Personal brand, the story we tell when no one's around. And then the positioning is aligning your digital presence with the desired leadership narrative. So when we're positioning, we're talking about we're a brand, we're that tech company, we're forward thinking, we're innovative, we're telling the story of where we're going. That's what positioning is. Positioning is also networking within a circle of the people that can help influence the outcome of your next career opportunity. Oftentimes we think that I need to I need to actually network with the person who I would be reporting to. That's not necessarily the case, meaning you've identified a position. Maybe you're looking for your next VP level role. Maybe you're looking for your next chief role, right? And you're thinking, okay, well, I know the CEO, or I would like to connect with the CEO. That's probably the wrong move right now. The move you want to make is you want to be in the orbit of the CEO, or you want to be in the orbit of the organization in which you desire to work with. Meaning, I'm going to follow 5 or 6 people that are connected with the person who is my target, whether it's that organization or the company. And then I'm going to start networking within that circle, making myself visible, meaning I'm engaging with their whatever messaging that they're putting out there. And then what happens is it makes me visible to my target audience, whether it's that organization or that individual. You see what I'm saying? So we network around where we're trying to get to. Then you engage, make yourself visible. You share your personal wins on your channel. And when you start engaging, people notice that you keep tapping in. You keep showing up on their thread, right? And then they start digging into your profile and they say, well, man, Lori looks like she'll be a great individual to have on our team. Like I'm liking what she's contributing. And all these companies, remember, most companies are for profit. Even when you're not for profit, they still care about sales and revenue generation. So it's all about driving revenue so they can stay in business. So we want to tell the story of the outcomes that we're able to accomplish with organizations. Even if you're a nurse, yes, you help so many different patients, but how did that drive revenue for the organization? That's the root cause of all these businesses right now. They're trying to figure out a way to stay competitive and in business in today's time. So I want to hit you with the framework, the 3 C's of personal branding, or branding position. It's the 3 C's, right? It's going to be clarity, consistency, and then credibility. All right. There's going to be clarity, consistency, and credibility. And I know you're thinking right now, Patrick, you're speaking fast. I can't write all this down, which is cool. This is going to be on replay, right? And it's going to probably be live for, I don't know, maybe 2 weeks or whatnot before I take it down. And it's going to go to my Career Accelerator program. But right now, you can just tap back into this and rewatch this. The other thing I would encourage you to do, share this with somebody who's in that same or similar position as you, who can see the value in a segment like this, or learning together, collaborative style like we're doing today. So the 3 C's of brand positioning. One is clarity. Be clear on who you help, what you solve, and why it matters. This is clarity. We're being extra clear on who we help, what problems we solve, and why it matters. This is when you're thinking of your profile, who you help, what companies do you help, what problems do you personally solve, and why it matters. Think about it like that. That's clarity. If you clarify your personal brand right there, you're going to attract the people who value your energy and your insight and what you contribute, right? Consistency is you want to ensure that your resume on LinkedIn or any of these sites that you uploaded to, and the conversations are aligned with the outcomes you're trying to achieve. Meaning, if we're trying to get to the executive level position, and we're director today, on my feed, I'm not sharing pop videos. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying this is not the branding that I'm looking for, right? I'm not sharing memes. I'm not just sharing motivational quotes, because a lot of you think, oh, well, it's easy to do that. I can just start with a motivational quote. Everybody's sharing motivational quotes. That's not going to separate you from everybody else. I want to talk about what you bring to the table. Remember, who you help, the problems you solve, and why it matters. We're thinking in that thought process. And when you think in that thought process, it will help you to develop whatever content that you need to illuminate your profile across whatever, wherever it's uploaded at, right? So that's consistency. Then there's credibility. Credibility is these are your highlight your results, your testimonials, and your thought leadership. And you might be, well, Patrick, I don't have any testimonials or thought leadership today. What does that mean? That means we have to work on that. That's something that we need to do here in 2025. I want those highlight results. I want those testimonials. I want that thought leadership. And normally what happens is we generally accumulate this throughout, a weekly, monthly, quarterly, biannually or yearly period. But what we fail to do is document that somewhere where we can go back and reference that. Now we can talk our shit, right? We can talk like, this is what I really do. Like, I'm really him. Like, I'm really that guy, right? So this is what we want to do. We want to highlight those results, those testimonies, as well as that thought leadership. Here's the other thing, guys. Y'all need to understand. I keep 100% all the way real in what I talk about. So if you're afraid of a little cussing, don't worry about it. I'm a military guy. So I've approved this message. We can move forward with that. Here's the tip I want you to understand. Use banners, headlines, and feature sections on your LinkedIn strategically, or your Indeed, or again, anywhere you upload your profile. Your banners, your headlines, and your feature sections. You want to use all of those sections to help tell the story, your different and better story, how you separate yourself, who you help, what you solve, and why it matters, right? We're getting back to that clarity. And then be known for something, whatever it is. You want to be known for that thing that you do well. So what are you known for? You need to ask yourself that. And then lean into that. And then illuminate that. And then make yourself visible in that particular area as well. So questions here. I'll open it up really quick. No questions. I'm going to keep moving on. Just do a check. We're doing good. We have a few minutes. So I want to make sure I get to this next section. This is future-proofing your career. Here's an insight. 2025, it belongs to the professionals who stop playing defense and start leading their narrative. Stop playing defense. Lead your narrative, right? Here's some key ideas. Skills can be duplicated. You need to understand it. Anybody can duplicate your skills. We look at Robert on here. We look at all the other people that's on this thread right here. Your skills can be duplicated, right? But strategy and visibility, that's going to be your edge right there. I want you to start thinking beyond the next job and think of your career capital, your legacy, and your leverage. When you start forward thinking, this is even beyond the next career jump. You're thinking, man, I'm truly planning 4, 5, 6 years ahead, right? Because I'm forward thinking, I'm being innovative. When you start thinking of yourself like that brand, that career capital, and that legacy and the leverage, then it's going to illuminate you where you can actually talk to a level of where you're going. Keep learning, keep publishing, and then keep positioning. Here's the next step in my call to action right here as I wrap up, and then I'll open it up for Q&A. I just introduced, and actually it's dropping tomorrow. So today's the 30th, tomorrow's the 31st. It actually begins tomorrow. The wait list is open today. I announced my Hustling 25-8 Career Accelerator Mentorship Program. Listen, it's only $47 a month. You're thinking, man, $47 a month. So we're talking about maybe $550 a year. You can get access to monthly strategy sessions with me, career templates and visibility scripts. And I built a community of like-minded career climbers. So what am I creating? I'm creating this network where we can learn and grow together so we can achieve the outcomes that we're looking for. So that's open right now. If you go to my link in my bio, you can click on that. First thing that's going to pop up is that invite. You can join right there. I look forward to seeing you on the inside. It's $47 a month. If it's not for you, but you know somebody, pass that on to them. Share my profile, because I'm generally interested in helping people get to that next level of their career success. So I want to create some urgency here. The doors are open. I can't help everybody. I can only help, so many people, right? So it's going to be limited. At some point, I'm going to have to cut this thing off, but also have some extra bonuses for my early subscribers to it as well. So don't look out for that. It's going to be full strategy, no fluff, straight up me telling you how it is, helping you get to the next level. And I want to close with this. If 2024 was about hustle, let 2025 be about smarter, faster, bolder moves. You don't need to do more. You need to do different. Change that, reframe that thought process. We're thinking, I need to work harder. I need to work longer. No, we just need to be strategic, and we need to be visible. So I would like to thank you. Chat box is open right now. I've concluded my little spiel that I was going to go through, but the chat box is open. Here's the other thing. DM me. If you can't find the link in my bio, DM me, waitlist. I will send you the link personally. You can also connect with me behind the scenes, especially if you're interested in maybe some one-on-one type of situation. I'm there for that as well. And then the other thing too is you may be looking at your organization and thinking, you know what, Patrick, he's the kind of guy that we would like to have as a speaker. I do that as well. So if you'd like me to come out to your organization, or you're hosting a major event and you're looking for some topics on leadership, you're looking for storytelling, you're looking for some motivation, you're looking for inspirational type of ideas, that's what I bring. And I'm going to bring you full flavor each and every time. I'm going to bring you the realness. I'm never going to sugarcoat anything. And I'm going to help you get to the next level. So thank you for joining. I appreciate y'all. We may have one next Wednesday. I got to look at my handlers and see what they got for me, but it's been pretty consistent for the last 6 weeks, maybe 8 weeks. I've been having one of these. So let's see if we can put another one of these together for next Wednesday. Until then, make sure you like, subscribe, follow your boy for more career tips, insights, and hustle strategies to get you to the next level. Until then, see you next time. Let's keep hustling.